Okay.
Congratulations.
What's up, Dan?
That was impressive. My question for you is, as Greg said about Pacquiao, one thing that Moose said after the fight was not only does he believe that you would beat Pacquiao and basically every other welterweight out there, he said Mayweather ain't coming back out of retirement to fight this guy. And not only does he think that you are already one of the very top welterweights, but one of the top guys pound for pound even perhaps after this type of performance, looking at your potential.
Did you watch the Pacquiao fight preparing for this one?
I'll say that again.
How much did you watch the Pacquiao fight to prepare for this one? And also, what does it say that Algieri couldn't stand up to your power, but he got up 6 times against Pacquiao?
It goes back to what my coach said. Manny Pacquiao, he's a hard puncher. He's quick, but he lacks fundamentals, and that's what I'm big on. I'm big on fundamentals. I can cut off the ring. I can throw. I can vary up my punches. That's something that, Manny Pacquiao can't do. He can't cut off the ring. As you see with Floyd and as you see with Chris Algieri, when Chris Algieri got hurt, he was able to move and, recover. I didn't allow Chris Algieri to do that.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. First of all, I gotta say, make sure you guys hit the like button, the subscribe button if you're here on YouTube, and also check out my website. Trying to put in a lot of work. Me and my dude Bakari, we're trying to get the articles out to you, and I appreciate everybody who has taken the time to visit the site and also the people who donated. That helps with the site maintenance. I'm trying to get more writers. I'm trying to get more coverage, cover all the events, just do it all here at Boxingego. So I appreciate anybody who has supplied a donation. Now, on my website yesterday, there's an article, as you guys can see, Freddie Roach fires shots fired at Errol Spence Jr. for Pacquiao statement. And then you click on it, and that's what I want to talk about right here in this video. Now, just to kind of paraphrase, Manny Pacquiao had his performance versus Tim Bradley, and he also has a mutual opponent now with Errol Spence Jr., and that's Chris Algieri. Now, post-fight, as you guys seen at that clip at the beginning at the press conference, Errol Spence Jr. was saying that the reason he was able to get Chris Algieri out of there was because Pacquiao, he's a strong puncher, but he lacks some of the fundamentals when it comes to boxing, and him and his team are big on that. They're big on fundamentals and just, I guess, overall technique. And that's pretty much the statement. Freddie Roach didn't like that, so he had some things to say. He said, Earl's a good fighter. I met him at the Olympic Training Center. He was one of the best fighters on the 2012 team. He looked good against Algieri the other night, but he can't carry Manny Pacquiao's bags. And that's coming from this man here, Freddie Roach. And he also goes on to say some other stuff. This is what I have. This is the biggest thing that I have is Freddie Roach, great trainer, very inconsistent. Like, if you listen to his fight predictions, I'm betting my house on Miguel Cotto to beat Canelo. I did a 7 reasons on my channel, however, and said 7 reasons why Canelo beats Cotto, and I was right. You know what I'm saying? I said Canelo via decision, which is exactly what happened, right? This man said that it was going to be a knockdown. Or excuse me, it was going to be, he could see Cotto possibly knocking out Canelo and all this and that, and he was going to win. And that's cool. That's a fight prediction. We're always wrong on some, everyone gets a fight prediction wrong. But it's just sometimes he says things that I don't know. I just can't agree with, I guess you could say. And he said he can't carry Manny Pacquiao's bags. Look, this is the thing. I'm not going to get on here. I'm very truthful with you guys. I'm not going to get on here and say 100% I would bet my life savings that Errol Spence Jr. can defeat Manny Pacquiao, because that would be disrespectful to Manny Pacquiao, who's accomplished so much in the sport, and he has a high level of experience. He's a good fighter. He's athletic. He showed you in the Bradley rubber match that he still has a bit of the old Pacquiao. His movement looked good. His power was clearly there. He knocked Bradley down twice, and he has a gang of experience. See, it's not hard for me to be realistic, but as far as Errol Spence Jr. not being able to carry Pacquiao's bags, I disagree, especially at this point. If we're talking about the Pacquiao who was running through guys and nobody could, nobody could make him look vulnerable almost, that's different. But if you really know the sport of boxing, I think Errol Spence Jr. has actually a good shot to beat Pacquiao at this point of his career. I really do. And I'm not saying Pacquiao's damaged goods or nothing, but he's just the older fighter. And from what I've seen in boxing, fighters like Pacquiao, their shelf life is not as long as a guy like Juan Manuel Marquez, Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins. because those guys rely more on fundamentals, which is exactly kind of what Errol Spence Jr. was saying. It's more about technique, counterpunching. And especially guys, when you get up there like Mayweather, he has not taken as much punishment. If you look at Pacquiao versus Margarito, some people, they let things overshadow what really went on. That was a difficult fight for Pacquiao. Even though Pacquiao, that's how you know Pacquiao's a great fighter, because even though he's a great fighter, and to the naked eye, if you're like a casual boxing fan, you'd be like, oh, Pacquiao blew him out of there. But Pacquiao, on his documentary, he goes on record saying that was the most difficult fight for him in his entire career to that point, right? And it was difficult because of the weight. That's why Pacquiao never went back to 150. Floyd Mayweather's been to 154 2 times versus Cotto, a legend, first round Hall of Famer, and De La Hoya, a first round Hall of Famer. And he fought a young Canelo who was over 10 years younger than him and a champion and undefeated at the 152. Notice Pacquiao has never been back up there, right? Because he knows that weight had an effect, and it wasn't exactly the same as at welterweight, you know what I'm saying? So the point being is this: in that Margarito fight, Margarito is a guy who's slow and plodding, but he's tough. At that point, he was considered a tough fighter. He had a tall frame, etc. And he hurt Pacquiao to the body. Again, it gets overshadowed because of what Pacquiao did in return by breaking his eye socket, his orbital, and it pretty much gave him an early retirement. He had, I think, one more fight with Cotto in a rematch, and then he was done for. His eye was done for. So people overlook things like that. But if you watch that fight again, early in the fight, Margarito was hurting Pacquiao to the body. Pacquiao was actually a little bit younger then, because that happened in whatever year, right? That was sometime after Mosley had stopped Margarito, etc. So happened a couple years ago. Errol Spence Jr., a phenomenal body puncher. I did a video on Instagram and I called him Errol Spence Jr. the body snatcher, because that's one of his bread and butter, how he invests to the body. An older Pacquiao getting dumped on in the body, that would be interesting, because a lot of people, because of Pacquiao is so quick, you don't want to make a mistake. A lot of people don't really go to the body, but I think Errol Spence, being the young, hungry lion, I don't think he would abandon the body attack. That's just me. And that's actually a good thing, because we've seen less athletic guys who are much slower and more of a like robotic, like a Margarito, hurt Pacquiao to the body. So that's what makes the Errol Spence Jr. fight compelling. Also, you have to keep in mind this. This is something a lot of people are, I'm reading comments like, oh, Pacquiao would destroy Spence. Maybe. But you got to keep in mind, Pacquiao's best punch, his money punch, is the straight left hand. That's the punch he hit De La Hoya with it like 18,000 times. That's the punch he hurt Floyd Mayweather with. That's his money signature punch, right? Errol Spence Jr. is a southpaw. So if you know your boxing, you will know this, that landing that punch on a southpaw is not as effective as landing it on an orthodox righty. And the reason being is you're in a different, when you're fighting a southpaw, there's a different trajectory of your punches. Like a straight left, if you're a right-hander fighting a person with a great straight left like Pacquiao, you're right in line for him to shoot that. That's why Floyd Mayweather didn't do the Philly shell. That's another thing. That's why he doesn't do the Philly shell for the whole fight or large chunks of the fight with Pacquiao, because it's less effective because of the positioning. If you're a right-hander like Floyd and you're going up against Pacquiao with a great straight left, then you're right in line to catch that straight left, right? Versus if Floyd's fighting another orthodox fighter. So the fact that Errol Spence Jr. is southpaw, that gets him out of the way of danger, because for Pacquiao to shoot that left, it's not going to be as easy and effective as if he's fighting a right-hander, right? And then just you got the youth and stuff like that. So it's a good fight. I'm not saying Pacquiao has no chance, but I'm a realistic boxing fan, and I observe the sport and what I've seen. And honestly, Errol Spence Jr. right now, he's looking like the truth, and he looks hungry. And then the other thing you got to keep in mind is this: Bradley hurt Pacquiao in the 8th round of their rubber match. And you have to keep in mind, Dante's Boxing Nation did a video on this. This is what new media does, where Freddie Roach had said recently, oh, Bradley's never hurt Pacquiao. And then Dante said something to the effect of, hey, but you said that that he got hurt in the second fight. And Freddie Roach was like, oh, I never said that. And then on the video, link in the description, you'll hear Freddie Roach at the press conference for the second fight where he admits that Bradley hurt Pacquiao in the second fight. So 2 contradictory statements from Freddie Roach. So I don't put much stock into what Freddie Roach says about Errol Spence can't carry his bags. I think that's a good fight. I think it's a competitive fight. Either guy can win, and I'm realistic. But I think Errol has a lot of attributes that would give Pacquiao at this current point problems. Southpaw and southpaw. That immediately, because Pacquiao, he's improved his right hand like subtly, but it's still not anything like close to his left hand. You know what I'm saying? Like his left hand is the laser, and then the right hand is just, you know what I mean, kind of more of a setup punch. So I actually really agree with DeBella and Errol Spence in terms of Pacquiao lacking fundamentals, and Errol could possibly beat Pacquiao. Maybe he needs a little bit more experience. We'll see. I'm not judging this based solely off the Chris Algieri performance either, because that's also not what I do. I don't just judge things off of one performance. I'm judging off the completeness of what I've seen from each fighter. And again, Pacquiao got hurt by Bradley, a guy who a lot of you guys in the comment section said was pillow-fisted, wheelchair Bradley, feather-fisted. So, I mean, if that's the case, then why wouldn't an Errol Spence Jr. be able to hurt Pacquiao? Vice versa, Pacquiao he hurt Mayweather, so he can clearly hurt an Errol Spence Jr. who doesn't have anywhere near the experience of either guy, Pacquiao or Mayweather. But again, listen to my commentary, much more objective and much more realistic. I'm not saying it's a gimme for Errol Spence Jr. because he's never faced a phenom like Pacquiao, but I don't agree with Freddie Roach either, saying he can't carry his bags. And this is the thing. It's not like there are 2 different disciplines. It's not like Conor McGregor calling out Floyd or Ronda Rousey calling out Floyd Mayweather, where one's in the UFC organization, mixed martial arts, and one's in boxing. You guys are in the same sport. So if you really feel that way, you guys can get it on. That's not even a problem. And it leads me to this final quote from Freddie Roach. Manny's getting older. He's retired now. And Earl's up and coming. He might have little youth on Manny, a little. He's 26 and Manny Pacquiao's like 36, 37. That's like a decade. Again, Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo, who was over 10 years younger. But listen to Freddie Roach's next comment. Manny has a lot of experience, true. And he has to just get in line. Fight a real fight first and then come show me something. Fight Kell Brook and show me something, Freddie Roach. So it is what it is. It doesn't sound like, even though he said he can't carry Manny Pacquiao's bags, you guys are in the same sport. So if you really feel it that way, you guys could settle it. Like, and that's the thing. People are gonna probably leave comments on this video like, man, Earl couldn't do nothing with Pacquiao's right and stuff. Let's see the fight. I would pay for it. That's all I gotta say. Let's see it. It's the new media, man. It's time for action, not just words. I don't want to just see words. I think all fans should be pushing for this fight. If you think Spence will get destroyed by Pacquiao, that would be that would be equivalent to Floyd Mayweather when he beat Canelo. A young, undefeated, and Errol Spence is not a champion yet, but just a young, strong, undefeated kid who showed a lot of promise, good combination punching. So let's see Pacquiao fight somebody who's 10 years younger than him and a good combination puncher, power, clearly probably going to have a size advantage over him, and let's see him demolish it. I don't want to just see comments about this and Spence has no chance. That's fine. If you feel that way, then you should be even more so pushing for the fight, to see the fight. Like, oh, I want to see it, right? Let me see it, because I know my guy's going to win. I know my guy's going to tear Errol Spence up. Push for the fight. That's all I'm saying. So I think it's a good fight, competitive fight, and there's some different variables that I seen in the comment section a lot of people aren't exploring, like the fact that this man is actually a southpaw like this man, and that makes it a totally different fight. If Errol Spence was a righty, then that would be different, and my analysis would be different. But the fact that it's southpaw and southpaw makes it very intriguing for me, because I study the sport of boxing. And again, you guys can say whatever you want, but I truly believe that if Bradley can hurt Pacquiao, then there's no reason on earth this man can't. And he also cuts off the ring. And another thing I noticed in boxing, a lot of people get mad when something is said, and it's not like they dispute it. They don't say any disputes about it. They just get mad. Like, Errol Spence said Pacquiao lacks fundamentals. That's okay. He does lack fundamentals. I've been saying that for years. But that doesn't mean he's a shitty fighter. It doesn't mean he's a bad fighter or he sucks. A lot of people are just so emotional, they get mad. And it's not like they're disproving that Pacquiao that he lacks fundamentals. Freddie Roach is mad, fans get mad. But I do agree with him. I do think Pacquiao lacks fundamentals. But the great thing about Pacquiao is he does other things great that overcompensates for the lack of fundamentals. He's very hard to time. Mayweather's a master at adjusting and timing, and you notice in their fight, it took a minute for Mayweather to fully get his time because Pacquiao, I'll put the clip at the end of the video. My dude Stan Martinook, who sparred Pacquiao, he broke it down perfectly. He said, when I interviewed him, that Pacquiao is just basically like 0 to 60. He's just like, you're not expecting it. He's just like, bow out. And you're like, oh shit, like where did that come from? And that's what Pacquiao does very well. He's so awkward, and he's a southpaw, and he has power, and he has speed, and he's like a ball of frenetic energy. So you don't really know what to expect. It's like it's hard to. That's why if you look at Floyd Mayweather versus Emmanuel Augustus, if you look at him versus Maidana, he had a little bit more trouble in those fights because those guys are hard to read in time. If you're fighting Emmanuel Augustus, the drunken monkey style master, it is very hard to know what he's going to do next. It's like talking to a person with no ailments or disorders versus talking to someone with Tourette's. You don't know what's going to come out of their mouth next. If me, I don't have Tourette's, so you know what I'm saying, I might be more predictable, for example. But if someone has Tourette's and they can't control what comes out of their mouth, then it's going to be harder to anticipate what's going to happen next. And that's the best analogy I could think of on the spot. But it's just that unpredictability that Pacquiao has that makes him a super threat to really anybody, because you don't know his next move. And that could pose problems for the young Errol Spence Jr. because he's never fought. Chris Algieri, he had his way with him. But Pacquiao, I don't think would go out like that. Pacquiao showed an immense amount of heart, got hurt in the 8th round in the Bradley third fight, and then he came back very strong in the 9th round. So Pacquiao is a great fighter. Again, I still think he lacks fundamentals, but he's able to it's okay. There's a lot of, I think Gennady Golovkin is a great fighter. I think he lacks head movement, or he doesn't really show it in many of his fights. But it's okay because he's still winning, and he shows other things that make up for it. His immense power, his ability to cut off the ring. Those are all things that overcompensate those shortcomings, and that's kind of what it is with Pacquiao. He's still a complete fighter, but he's missing little tools in his tool shed, but he's able to overcome them based on work rate, athleticism, volume punching, unpredictability and awkwardness, southpaw stance, and that's pretty much kind of what Errol Spence Jr. was saying, and I agree with that. Pacquiao does lack fundamentals, so this is a great fight, and if Freddie Roach believes that this young lad can't carry Pacquiao's bags at this point, let's see the fight. So I see Errol Spence Jr. as being kind of one of the guys that are avoided as he just keeps stepping up. Danny Garcia had some stuff to say about him. I interviewed Berto and Khan. They didn't say anything bad about him. They gave him praise. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to his career. He's a hell of a fighter. So I'm anxious. Keith Thurman in the past was, when asked about Errol Spence, he said he has to do more. Danny Garcia basically said he has to do more. Kell Brook got a little bit of a pardon because the IBF set up a IBF eliminator who Errol Spence should be the favorite against Panamarov, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. So bottom line, Spence Pacquiao, I would pay top dollar to see that even now, and we'll see. That is a true testament to see how much Pacquiao has in the tank right now going up against a young lion. I would really liken that to Mayweather versus Canelo when he took on big threats, or even Mayweather versus Victor Ortiz. A lot of people clown Victor Ortiz now, but Victor Ortiz actually was doing well for himself. Another southpaw, really big for the weight division, off the Berto win, and he has speed, power. Victor Ortiz, he didn't do half bad. People look at Victor Ortiz now like, oh, he's a joke, or he quit in this fight, but they don't realize that that was still a young threat. A guy who's much younger, bigger than Floyd, probably stronger than Floyd, had some momentum from the Berto win. So I would really like to see Pacquiao fight one of those young, hungry lions, because the Bradley fight, I thought he won all of the fights. So him looking good in the third fight was kind of to be expected, because I thought he won the last two fights. but him going in against an unknown commodity that he's never fought, and that's a young, hungry lion who's looked good to this point and undefeated, be the first to blemish his record. And I would give Pacquiao a ton of credit, because that's exactly what Floyd did to Canelo. Let me know what you guys think. Pacquiao Spence Jr. Do you want to see it? Do you not want to see it? Why or why not? Make sure you like the video, share the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
Oh, that was great, man. I remember I was the very first guy to spar him in camp. I was real nervous. You know, he has that unexpected speed and power. You know, he'll be real relaxed, and all of a sudden, boom! You don't even know where the punch is coming from. He'll just throw straight, and his punches are like solid. You know, they're not snappy. They're just like feel like bricks coming at you. Boom! Hard.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.